Here we go again. Chip Scoggins. Bonus episode of Daily Delivery. Star Tribune columnist Chip Scoggins joining me. I am Michael Rand. 109-108 Dallas in game two at Target Center. Felt a little bit like game one, Chip, but different in that Dallas really did kind of seem like they stole this one. That's not how I
Yeah,
felt about the first one, but when they come in and they barely got the lead for any of the game, and then they end up pulling it out on a Luka three with 3 seconds left. That feels like
yeah.
that was more of a gut punch, more of a steal than anything like that. But what are your immediate takeaways as we talk? Late Friday night.
Well, I think the Wolves could look at game one, and that was did they get the memo loss?
Yeah,
They didn't play hard. They looked flat. They looked lethargic. Dallas took advantage of it. That was not the problem tonight. The effort was there. The intensity was there. I thought the first half defensively they played well.
yeah,
They, the two best players in this series by a mile, by a country mile, play for Dallas. And
yeah.
they have finishers. They got guys that in Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic that are just playing so much at a level above anyone else in this series. And the Wolves' two best players have not brought it to, enough to the fight, even anywhere close. Karl-Anthony Towns was benched in the fourth
Yeah,
quarter. He played 3 minutes and 20 seconds in the fourth quarter because Naz Reid was a much better option than he
right.
was. And so that is a telling statement when, your franchise guy, supermax player, cannot be trusted to be on the court in the fourth quarter of a close game of the Western Conference Finals.
Do you think that was more? I mean, I think it was both, but do you think it was more Cat or more the fact that Nas wouldn't miss, or at
Well, it's
least not till
both.
the end, or at least
I
not
mean,
till
it's
the end?
both. I mean,
Right.
Cat wasn't making any shots, and Nas
No.
was. So it's like you went with the better option. I
Yeah.
mean, it was both. If Cat was making shots, he would have been out there, but Nas was, and he was on fire, and so you kept him out there. But they're just offensively, they're not clicking. It's just way too many wasted possessions, and the margin of error is so slim
Right.
when you have Luka and Kyrie over there that they can't have those lulls. They're going to have to score more points because I don't think, as great as their defense has been all year, I don't think they can slow down those two. I really don't. I mean, they're just so gifted offensively, and they either
Right.
get shots for themselves or they're getting dunks for their teammates.
Right.
And so the Wolves are going to have to be better offensively. And I think we should talk about Ant because
Yeah. What's going
he
on
didn't.
with him? What's going on?
I, 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 I'm just going to speculate here. I think he's wore down.
He
Um,
looks it. He looks like he's
he
miserable out there. He's looking like he's not having any fun
he's
in Western Conference
indecisive.
Finals. Where's the? I
Yeah,
mean, yeah,
he's indecisive on what to
yeah,
do, whether to attack, where to pull up and shoot.
right.
I don't know if it's accumulation of a guy having been this far. If it's the bright lights of the Western Conference Finals, is it the way Dallas is defending him that's leading to this? But he didn't get credit for the turnover to Jaden with 47 seconds, but that was
That
a
was,
wild
that
pass.
was a horrible decision too. He just like got
Yeah,
he got himself in a bad situation and threw a wild
and
pass that Jaden almost bailed out.
well, that's it. I mean, Jaden's hand touched it, so I think they gave him the turnover, but that was Ant's turnover.
Yes.
And then another wild pass with 12
Oh my
seconds
gosh.
left that set up Luka's game winner. So he's making really poor decisions, and he just looks indecisive and unsure of how to attack. So you know, I read his quotes afterwards. I didn't get a chance to get into the
Yeah.
press conference with him. He didn't. He said, "I hope we're not panicking." They look panicked to me the way they're playing. Yeah, he looked panicked in that final minute, I thought.
Well,
So
they don't seem to have. I mean, late game offense has been a problem at points this season. But it wasn't just that. It was like when they got up, whatever it was like they were up like 17 at one point. It just didn't seem
yeah,
like they were. It didn't seem like they were intent on keeping it there. It just felt like they started to they had some empty, wasted possessions
it
like you're
is.
talking about. And it's just like Dallas is too good. You can't let them chip away, and then all of a sudden it's 8, and you're like, okay, it's a game again. Like that was what they
Well,
didn't do against Denver in those blowout wins.
that's what they had. So that second quarter, I thought they were really good
Right.
defensively. They were contesting shots. They got up 17, and then they had one of those lulls that they have where Nickeil Alexander-Walker missed a couple shots, and Jaden missed a couple jumpers, and Rudy kind of was, fumbling around underneath the goal, and he missed a wild layup. And all of a sudden, I think it was an 8-2 run there at the end of the first half, and now all of a sudden they're in the game. Right. Dallas has new life again, and then you come out to start the second half, and Kyrie hits 2 threes, one over Conley, one over Naz, and now all of a sudden you're in a ball game. And so they have those, and they had these against Denver. They just got away with it, where they have those 3-4 minute stretches where their offense just kind of loses all semblance of flow and rhythm, and they don't make shots. The wrong guys are taking shots. And, Denver just didn't have the firepower in that series because Jamal Murray was inconsistent. Michael Porter Jr. was a no-show. Well, Dallas has 2 just world-class scores. And the margin of error, like if you have those stretches, they're going to make you pay for it because Luka and Kyrie are going to keep the pressure on. It's like every possession when they're guarding him is a intense battle because one of those two is going to do something, either score or put their teammates in a position to get a basket. So their offense is just feels disjointed at times, and they just can't afford to have those stretches against this opponent.
I'll get to Luka's game clincher in a minute, but I think some of this is just the continuation of a year-long trend that's rearing its ugly head at a wrong time, right? They just haven't been a great team sometimes in late game offense because they don't have Luka. They don't have Ant can be that guy, but they, if you clamp down on him, which they've been doing all series, it's like, well, where's the offense going to come from when everything's getting tight? But some of this too, to me, not getting Conley back in the game, for that second to last possession, whatever the defense they had drawn up that ends up with Rudy ISO'd on Luka for that last possession. I think some of this is coaching. I think Finch has gotten his butt out coached by Jason Kidd, Finch and Micah Norrie. And I don't know if the communication is catching up to them where Finch is sitting back there and Norrie's leading the charge. But some of this to me is there's been some coaching malpractice, especially in this game, that they had this game. They've got to be more composed. And some of that is coaching.
Yeah. I want to go back and look at the Luka possession to see how was it a switch off a pick and roll?
It was, it was a switch.
And so I don't know. I mean, that's obviously not what you want, but in saying that, you have Rudy Gobert. Luka had to shoot a step back, fade away 25-footer over a 7-footer's outstretched arm. I can't sit here and say that was bad defense. I mean, he made him make a difficult shot. I mean, the guy's just a great player. And so was that bad coaching or just a player that's better than you are?
Yeah.
I mean,
he never should have been
shot.
He never should have been in that matchup. He had no chance of staying with Luka. He was a step behind him. I mean, it was a big time shot. I'm not saying it wasn't, but Rudy Gobert should not be singled up with Luka Doncic on that play. It should either be it should be Jaden McDaniels fought through that screen, or you double him and you make somebody else beat you. That was just whatever. If that was the play design, if that was what they said to do in this situation, that was a bad idea. Yeah, I'm not blaming Rudy. He did what he could, but
no, you can't blame Rudy in that.
No,
unless him and Jaden didn't follow the game plan or whatever. We don't know what the breakdown was there.
Right.
I can't imagine that they drew up a scenario where they want Rudy guarding him. There had to be a breakdown somewhere. So they didn't defend it right. They didn't follow the game plan because I guarantee you that's not what they're looking for. I feel like, and there's probably some things coaching wise that they've erred on. I just look at today specifically. I thought Ant panicked.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, they're up 108, 106 with the ball, and he panics and throws a wild pass to Jaden. That's a turnover. They're up
Yep.
108, 106 with the ball
Yep.
with 12 seconds, and he panics and throws a wild pass. I think he was going to Naz, right, along the sideline.
It was, but it was like
he throws a bad
almost to
pass there.
nobody.
It's like,
It was like to nobody.
Yeah, and it's like Naz was the closest one, but it was like, I just think Ant really panicked in those situations. I mean, you have a 2-point lead with the possession twice in the final minute. You have to close that. I mean, you have to be able to still. Yeah, we can say, Edwards is 22 years old. This is his first time on this big stage, and you maybe can't expect him to make a clutch play in the way that a veteran like Kyrie or Luka is going to make, but still, I mean, if he's the superstar, you expect more out of him in those situations. And so I think that's the disappointing thing, because both of these games, they led late. And
they've led for 77% of the games so far. 77% of the time they've had the lead.
Which tells you their late games, which has been a storyline all season.
Yes.
That their late game execution, you can get away with it on a Tuesday in February. But when you're having these kind of breakdowns in the Western Conference Finals, now it's just a massive problem. And Dallas is not going to have those, because you're right. They have Luka or Kyrie that they can put the ball in their hands, ISO, and you feel you don't have to run anything for them. They're just going to make a play. Now, the Wolves do not have that.
No, they don't. And like, you'd like to think you have that with Ant, and you have in the past, but A, how they're defending him, and B, he does seem indecisive. I don't know if it's pressure, fatigue, like if he's a little injured from the fall he took in that Denver series, like maybe it's all of these things kind of catching up to him. He looks not like himself right now. He looks indecisive. He looks like he's unsure of himself. Aside from like a few moments, he hit a couple threes in that game where it looked like he was kind of like turning it on. He hasn't turned it on, and he doesn't have that kind of like in between gear, right? Like if he's either going to blow past you and get to the rim, or kick out for a three on that kind of play, or he's going to shoot the three himself. There's not a lot of he doesn't have that kind of like Luka. Not a lot of people do, but he doesn't have that Luka kind of craftiness where he can kind of like get you on his hip, dribble in. Got like 4 different options, things like that. Like if he's not getting past you, then he's in trouble, and he's in trouble right now.
And circle back to something you said earlier, where you talked about doesn't look like he's having fun. Ant is a big body language guy, right?
Huge.
You know when it's rolling with Ant just by his body language. You don't even have to see the scoreboard or whatever. You can just tell by the way he's playing. That spark and swagger is not there right now.
No.
And maybe it's just the frustration of trying to figure out how to attack the way Dallas is defending him, because the way they're defending him is so different than what Denver and Phoenix did in terms of their big dropping. Finch said before during the off day that they had 5 guys in the lane illegally, and so it's clearly frustrated him and made him indecisive on how to attack and how to get his offense going. And so you're right. I mean, he can say what he wants, but you can tell by the way he's playing, his body language, that he's clearly searching and trying to figure this thing out.
Cat, the max guy on the bench for gotta have it game 2. That's interesting. I know Naz was on fire. I'm gonna get to that last possession in a minute too, but that's interesting to me, because name me a star player where you would not have him on the court, even if he wasn't having a great shooting night and someone else was hot.
That's what I said. I wrote a column about this. It's like, that is a telling statement.
Yeah.
That a player on a supermax contract could not be on the floor in the fourth quarter. 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And yes, we can say Naz was on fire and that you go there, but Cat was 4 of 16.
Yeah.
Just really, I mean, he only had 2 fouls. Just really never found any kind of rhythm. This is 2, straight poor shooting performances for him. That's a problem. It's a problem that you didn't trust him to be on the court, or you trusted someone more to be on the court. It's just two bad performances, and you would like to think in a Western Conference Finals, your star players are going to step up to the challenge in the way that Kyrie and Luka are doing. But both of the Wolves, they just have not done that, and so it's it just shows that there's a big gap between a Kyrie and Luka who have done this on this stage before.
Yeah.
And, Luka is just, you saw tonight. I mean, it's like he has this game in the palm of his hands, right?
Yeah.
The way he can just break down a defense and look for a shot. Those guys are just money players, man.
Yeah. Few more things, Chip, then we'll finish this thing off. I mean, one is the shame of some of this is that they've wasted some supporting cast games that you have to have. Jaden was that guy in game one. Naz was definitely that guy in game two. I mean, Jaden was bad in this game. Offensively, he had 2 points. He had 2 points all night, 1 of 6 from the field, no threes. But Gobert was pretty good. He had 16 points, 10 rebounds. Conley was much better in this game. He had 18 points. Those guys were good. And of course, Naz off the bench, 7 of 9 from 3. Yeah. Now, the 9th, unfortunately for the Wolves, hits both parts of the rim but goes out. Interesting last possession, right? 3 seconds left, and the inbound to Edwards. You're thinking Ant might try to be the hero, but he passes off to Naz. Naz has a pretty good look at 3. It's been hot all night, just doesn't go. I don't have a problem with that, but it does. This is illustrative, right, of the difference of where they're at right now. There's no way if Luka is in that situation that he's passing up that chance to take the last second shot. Ant in this game was almost deferring in a lot of cases, or just wasn't quite sure. He deferred to Naz Reid, which, again, I don't think it's the wrong play, but it's an interesting kind of where this game is.
Mike, when he started to drive, I didn't get a second look at it on replay. Did they shade someone towards him that forced him to give up the ball?
They did. They kind of, it wasn't like a hard double, but definitely
someone was pretended to come. Naz's
defender kind of showed into the middle, and that's why he dished. And, that's why Naz was, relatively open on that shot. So
it was a good look.
It's the right basketball play. It's just interesting that he didn't take that last shot.
But you're right. With 3 seconds, and that's what it was when you inbound it. Like, if there were, if that was Dallas, I guarantee you either Kyrie or Luka are shooting that ball.
Right.
They're going to rise up and shoot it. And, this is probably people don't want to hear it, but this is part of the growth process.
It is.
It's not going to be as much as you want it to be all good.
No.
For Ant, there's going to be every great player has to go through this, the kind of the struggles and learning how to, in those moments, learning how to come through it in those situations. And like when Luka pulled up for that shot, was there any doubt in your mind that ball was going in?
No.
You knew it was going in.
You knew it was going in. It was going in.
You just absolutely knew that ball was going in. And so I just think Ant has to be in these situations more. I mean, this is his first real experience of this. And, the more his career goes on, he'll figure this out and he'll, I think he'll be less panicky in those situations. Because to me, am I saying the right words? It feels like he was panicky down the stretch in the fourth quarter with those passes.
Indecisive for sure. Like, he just didn't know what to do. He didn't know where he was going. He didn't have a plan. And so he got into trouble.
He didn't have a plan. Yeah, he just just threw a pass aimlessly because he really wasn't sure what he was doing. So, I mean, it's, you credit Dallas because
of course,
they're defending the right way, but this is part of the maturation process of Ant becoming, one of the elite players in the league, and he has to go through these situations.
A lot of fans were frustrated by the review on the Jaden turnover because he definitely got fouled on the play. It's just that is not reviewable.
Correct.
So that's a huge swing because they're up 2.
Sure.
If they call the foul there, he goes to the line, he makes 2. They're up 4 with like 40 some seconds left.
Then you probably win. Yeah,
you probably win. Changes the game. I mean, there's so many what if moments in this game where the narrative completely changes. Like if Naz hits that last shot, that's all we're talking about right now.
Well, yeah, I
If
mean, Nas is
Luke,
going to be the, yeah,
yeah, well, Naz is going to be your column. But if Luka misses that shot, Naz is probably still your column or something. Like
correct. Yeah.
he's still the story, but instead it's that. So the margin is thin, but that's playoff basketball, right?
Well,
Those are the margins that you're used to. Like the Denver series was a complete anomaly. Like they just haven't played games like this really in the
that's
playoffs
it.
yet.
That's 100. You're 100% right, Mike. I mean, that Denver series, these games are not going to be 45-point blowouts.
Yeah, you're not usually going to win 115-70. It's going to be like this. This is it.
Yes.
This is the
And
playoffs.
So, but the thing is, and I credit Chris Finch because somebody last game asked him about the goaltending on the basket interference on Towns. You know, when you execute poorly down the stretch and your best player goes or one of your best players goes 4-16 and Ant shooting,
Yep.
like you leave yourself vulnerable to those
Yes.
kind of, any little call, because the refs aren't going to be perfect. They're going to miss calls.
Right.
And so that's what you're talking about. The margin is so small here that you can't put yourself in that position where you're vulnerable to lose the game on a bad pass, or you leave
or a bad call. Yeah.
Or you make a bad pass to put the ball in Luka's hands for a last second shot. Well, what do you think is going to happen?
Right.
I mean, that's so it's hard to, if fans are complaining about that call or that overturn or whatever, I mean, you're missing the bigger picture here because they're just not making the plays. They're not making that. I think it comes down to Dallas is making winning plays, and the Wolves are 100%.
not. We haven't had a gut punch game like this for a while that I can remember in the playoffs. The Minnesota's got plenty of them in their playoff history. I can't remember one like this for a while where it was just like right down to the end and then that happened. I know they blew some games against Memphis. That was first round though, a couple of years ago. Like, well, I don't know what the parallel for this is, but this one felt like it hurt people. It felt like it hurt people.
I mean, you got to go back to Blair Walsh probably, right? I mean,
yeah, maybe. I mean, that was just so unexpected. It was just like, what? Like,
but that's one where you think, I mean, I just felt like the Wolves were going to win this game. And, when you have two possessions in the final minute, you're up two both times.
Yeah.
You should close that out on your home floor. And so, if you do, now it's 1-1.
Yeah.
You're feeling a whole lot better about yourself now.
Right.
I just think now you're soul searching because your two best players are not playing well.
No.
And you've basically squandered two games at home that were right there for you to go win. And you haven't been on the road yet. So now they've been good on the road.
Right.
But this is a totally different deal now. So we'll see how they respond on Sunday. But man, this is one that's hard to recover from.
I was going to say final thought, like where do they go from here? I mean, obviously they still got to feel confident. They know they're right there. They haven't played their best game yet by any stretch, but they're down 2-0 and they can look to the Denver series. Yeah, Denver was down 2-0, made that a series. Things like that. But yeah, they got to be a little shaken right now. Maybe going on the road will be a good thing for them. I don't know. They have been better on the road this postseason, and sometimes just getting away from everybody telling you how great you are can be a good thing. But yeah, where do they go from here? What do they got? How do they rediscover this?
They've been resilient all year.
Yes.
But they haven't been resilient in this situation yet.
Right.
So
right.
The problem I see is they don't have an answer for Kyrie and Luka as a tandem.
No.
I mean, those two had 52 points, 19 assists tonight.
Yeah.
And
Cat shot 9 for 33 combined.
Yeah, and the Wolves' offense has just been so inconsistent when you have those lulls that they have, where they have periods where they just, like we said, the empty possession, the missed shots, the wrong guy shoot.
Yeah,
they can't have those against this team because Kyrie and Luka are too good. They're going to make it pay. And so I don't. Where do they go from here? Yeah, they can. You can take solace in the fact that hey, they had two winnable games and they're right there in the last minute with a chance to win. But
right.
The only thing that matters is you're down 2-0. You didn't get it done, and they did. So until they get, but the bottom line is, until they get more from Ant and Cat,
Yeah.
they're not going to win this series. It's not going to be competitive if they don't.
No. Agreed. Chip, awesome stuff. Appreciate it. Read Chip's column. Follow our stuff. We'll talk to you again soon, man.
All right, brother.